Considering this is the third of our 5 Halloween videos, that shirt's not very Halloween-y.
That's okay, I'll make up with it with the costume I wear in the Halloween video itself. I'm sure people will be green with envy when I put it on. The poster for The Thing is regarded by movie buffs, horror fans and Parker aficionados as one of the finest ever created for a film in modern history. If you don't think that's one of the most sick, awesome posters ever created, I may be able to convince you otherwise by telling you that the artist who created it did so in a single evening without ever knowing what the film itself was about.
So who was this artist?
The artist in question was a legendary poster artist called Drew Struzan, who is almost single-handedly responsible for every awesome movie poster in cinema history.
So for context, you want to throw a few examples of these posters out for us?
Oh yeah, for anyone out there who doubts the length and girth of Struzan's movie poster penis, some of the posters he's created include the ones for Star Wars A New Hope, Rambo First Blood, and Police Academy 3 Back in Training.
Karl, one of those films isn't quite like the others, is it?
Yeah, I know, when Star Wars A New Hope is a bit shit, but I didn't say it was the movies themselves that were good, it's the posters that Struzan created for them. So in regards to like Police Academy 3 Back in Training, that's not a great movie by any stretch of the imagination, but the poster that Struzan created for it, on the other hand, is actually pretty fucking cool. I don't know about you, Brad, but I miss when movie posters used to be just a piece of kick-ass artwork tangentially related to the film itself that could stand on its own merits instead of just like, you know, a collection of actors' heads photoshopped randomly into a background of something. Because I recently learned about what I think may be the worst movie poster ever made, because it is just that. And right now, Brad, on my laptop in front of you, I want you to look up the film Father Figures starring Ed Helms. So Brad, have you found the poster for Father Figures starring Ed Helms?
Yeah.
Click on it. Bring it up. Give us your thoughts. Narrate your thoughts about this poster to the audience. As someone who's created many a shit Photoshop for this channel, what do you think of that Photoshop job?
That looks like something I'd have done. If you'd have said, imagine a film where you crammed a bunch of actors into a box.
It looks like a joke. It's amazing. And the thing is, the more you look at it, the worse it gets.
Like, the guy in the top right looks like he's balancing on Walken's hair, but Walken's got weirdly cut. He doesn't look like he should be there. And what's that smile?
No, bro, keep looking, it gets better. Oh my god. That's a real poster, by the way. Like, the thing is, though, ones like that I don't mind, because that's so bad it's good, but like, I think the atypical example is like the one for Spider-Man Homecoming, isn't it? Where they just didn't even try. It's so fucking bad. It's like, did you even care? Do you even give a shit about this movie? Speaking of movie posters though, Brad, do you remember when you worked in a cinema?
Yeah.
Do you remember that poster you brought home for that film starring Robert Downey Jr. and Robert Duvall?
Oh, for fuck's sake, not that one.
I think it's a film called, like, The Judge. That poster used to hang on the wall of a house me and Brad shared a couple of years ago. And one evening, I got drunk, as I often do, and just got a Sharpie and drew Tony Stark's goatee onto the picture of Robert Downey Jr. And Brad didn't notice for a year and a half. That's how synonymous Robert Downey Jr. now is with Tony Stark. I drew Tony Stark's fucking goatee with a Sharpie onto a poster he's on, and Brad didn't notice and stared at it every single day.
You make it sound like I was obsessed with that. No, I had a lot of posters and they were all around the house because I had them. I just had them. But no, it was there for quite a long time.
No one ever noticed, and it made me giggle every time I'd walk into the thing. I did that.
And then there's one of those days where I was just glancing at it and I was like, hang on a sec, that beard doesn't look very real.
Nothing will ever beat, though, that time I got really drunk, and that other housemate, I took all the labels off his food.
Oh, I've still got the picture of that.
And put new labels on. Like, he had like 25 tins of Branston baked beans, and I took the labels off every single one and sellotape new labels on that said Bronston Benz.
My favourite one was that you put on the bread raw toast.
I just got really drunk and took the labels off all his food and put new labels on. Oh, that was great. What a day. I'm a dickhead to live with. Never live with me, folks. Do you know what you need to do now, Brad? Like, put the poster behind me and just take the faces from it and just put them in various corners of the screen. Take the 4 worst heads and put one in each corner of the screen. And as this video continues, make them all grow larger and make them come towards me. Because this is a Halloween episode, so it's got to be spooky.
Oh, yeah, I see.
Let's do that. Right, now let's get back to talking about Drew Struzan's poster for The Thing. Now, Struzan is famous in the industry for his ability to create posters in a very short period of time, usually being able to condense the entire creative process for making a poster for a movie down to just a couple of weeks. However, even Struzan's impressive ability to fart out content on demand was challenged when he received a call from a panicked executive telling him, yeah, we've got a movie coming out soon and we don't have a poster for it, we need one tomorrow, can you do it?
I'm assuming the movie we're talking about here was The Thing.
Yes, it was. Struzan, always keen to test his skills, told the executive, I'll of course make you a poster and I'll have it for you by tomorrow. Just one thing, can you tell me anything about the movie itself?
So if you only got a day to make a poster for a film,
Yeah.
you need details to put on the poster.
Oh yeah, naturally.
Yeah, so obviously, did they give him any details about the plot?
No.
What about the people who were in it?
No.
What about the location?
No.
So what did they tell him?
They told him it was a remake of Thing from Another World.
That's it?
Yeah. You know the film that The Thing has nothing to do with and is so different from it that critics said it's not a remake, this is terrible. Because, oh yeah, The Thing, despite being credited as one of, like, you know, the greatest horror movies of all time, was savaged by critics upon its release. Do you know why I love that in regards to The Thing specifically?
Why?
One of the things that John Carpenter genuinely credits as being a reason for The Thing failing in cinemas is the fact that E.T. was released the week before. So people were going to the cinema to watch this film about a friendly alien from outer space, and then a week fucking later there was one about this shape-shifting, horrendous amalgamation of horrors that brutally assimilated people and murdered the fuck out of them. So I think to this day John Carpenter's like, man, I hate E.T. E.T. fucked over my movie. Because critics fucking hated it and they all said like, well, it's based on Thing from Another World, but it doesn't have anything to do with it. So that direction given to Struzan was like a pretty bad one, considering that basically nothing from that original like short film was utilised or used in the actual movie The Thing.
If The Thing wasn't appreciated in its time, do you reckon in like 50 years' time, people will be looking back on father figures and talking about how much of a masterpiece it is and how great the poster.
That poster is avant-garde. What we don't realise now, like, we are actually witnessing the accidental creation of high art. Like, many years down the line, posters like that are going to be like on people's walls, like ones for like Alien and The Thing. People are going to look at them shit and go, that's a fucking poster. These guys were on the bleeding edge of what art can be.
Our children's children will be looking at the new posters they're doing that are all these beautiful artworks and going, they're shit. Why can't they be like the old posters?
Because that'll be, one day that will be retro, and if it's retro, it'll be cool. Oh, I'm going to live to see that, and I'm just going to shoot myself in the face.
In that era, I could become a poster artist with my really shitty Photoshop.
You totally could. When they inevitably reboot fucking Harry Potter, you can just go in like, here's a Photoshop I did of Dobby like flying, like, you know, just doing the controlling Dio's power and firing 10,000 knives at people. So we've just talked about how Drew Struzan was given a single line of direction about the poster for The Thing, and that was, it's a remake of sorts of Thing from Another World. But fuck that noise. What about if, like, you know, those people who told Struzan about the film actually told him about the film? Do you think we would have got a better poster or a worse one?
I think we got a worse one. I get the feeling that you give him too many details and it would have been too detailed.
Instead of trying to put all those details in. But I'm just now thinking, what about if like the director had been like me and been like, man, Kurt Russell's beard's amazing in that movie. And he just sent a single line of direction, beard. Just beard. Like Struzan's like, okay, send me like what's the film about? And the guy ends just beard. What do you mean beard? Beard. Or how about if like the guy tried to give Struzan an idea what the film's about, and only seen like one scene, like, you know, the blood test scene, and he tries to describe Struzan, well, a guy stabs some blood. She's like, okay, yeah, and the blood is alive. So a man fights blood. And then he draws a poster that ends up being, miraculously, the final deleted scene from Blade 1. If people don't know about this, I'm talking about it. So the original ending for Blade 1 is that Deacon Frost turns into a CGI blood tornado that Blade tries to fight with a sword. And can you imagine if, like, Drew Struzan, like the artist that he was, brought that shit to life? Like, man stabs blood, and he somehow creates that fucking image. That'd be great.
See, when you said that, I was picturing, when you know when you go to doctors and you see, like, viruses brought to life as little cartoon characters.
Oh, yeah.
I was imagining, like, a little blood trying to run away, and then someone chasing him with a slithered sword with a knife.
No, it's like a really happy poster like that. It's like a little cartoony drop of blood and go,
What about if the guy had only seen like the opening scenes and there was the bit where they were trying to shoot that dog?
It's just angry Norwegian chaser's dog.
It's like the poster for Balto, but in the background are two guys with guns.
Or the scene where like the dog turns it, like all the dogs get assimilated by the thing. It's just like dog tornado. What? Dog tornado. I'm sorry, I don't follow. Neither did I. I only saw 5 minutes, mate. That's what I saw. That's what the film's about. All I can explain, dog tornado. They go, okay, I'll make a dog tornado poster then.
So imagine if they sent him just a sketch of that dog monster.
Oh, that thing's terrifying. Or imagine if the film was made today and like the movie studio could send Struzen a 5-second clip from which he had to extrapolate the entire meaning of the film. Like, what clip would you send him just to get the most fucked up poster possible?
Just McCready with a flamethrower.
Just a guy with just draws Hank Scorpio. For my money, it'd have to be that one shot in the film where the thing like opens up that guy's head and grabs the other guy and then lifts him up. But it's very clearly a dummy that is shaking around. So it's just that bit, it's like... And I want Drew Struzan to see that and go, yeah, I can work with this.
See, I can see, right? Say a couple of those things we've already said, but imagine you got multiple ones of them at the same time. Remember, he's got a day.
Okay.
And the message he gets is the picture of that dog creature.
Okay.
The man being thrown around, the word beard. Just imagine looking at them going, what am I drawing?
What is this film about? You could do that with any film really though, right? But when it's the thing, because there's so much fucked up imagery in that film, if you could send Struzen like any single screenshot of it, you'd be like, what the fuck is this movie about? Like, it's just like the dog monster, and it's just like all the weird tentacle things fly out. I was like, okay, cool. Just looks and goes, I guess I can work with this, but for me, it'd have to be just that one shot of the guy, the dummy getting thrown around by its head because it looks so dumb. That'd be the best. Because I'd love to see what someone come up with a poster for that shit. Unfazed by a minor detail like having absolutely no idea what the film he was asked to create a poster for in a day was about, Struzen dug out a collection of his winter clothes, put them on and posed for them in a series of photos taken by his wife. Which means that, in addition to creating the poster for the thing in a single day, Drew Struzan is also the guy in it. I'm just going to put it out there that I fucking love this poster, and the idea that the guy who painted it in a single day, not knowing anything about the film itself, makes me love it all the more. Because it's one of those things you look at and you go, what the fuck is that film about? It just draws the eye, doesn't it? It's just so, like, it's such an arresting image that you look at and go, I need to know more. And as well, despite the fact Struzen knew nothing about the film or its plot or what it was about, I think it still represents what the film is. Because the idea is that the thing can be anybody. So you see like a faceless person with like unexplained aura of light bursting from their eyes. I think there's even a scene like that in the movie. 'Cause I always assumed until I found this story out that it was an artistic representation of the scene where the guy runs out in the snow in his parka and goes down on his knees with his hands outstretched and gets set on fire. I thought, oh, it's an artistic representation of that. And it's not. Drew Struzan just went, oh, fuck. Oh, what a thing from another world. That's set in the Arctic, innit? Okay, give me my parka. I'll put that on. Okay, I'll paint that. That looks cool. And that's it. And fucking well played, mate. There's nothing more to say other than fucking well played. That's amazing. Go that guy. Before we continue with this video, I think we can ride this thought train for a few more stops and talk about the idea of giving a guy creating a poster for a movie absolutely no description of what the film itself is about, save for the bare minimum description of what the film is, and turning that shit into a poster. So Brad, what was the last film you watched?
I watched Mad Max Fury Road.
For the video that we made last week. Okay then, describe that film to me badly.
Okay, 2-hour chase movie, there's a lot of cars and there's a lot of explosions.
Okay, from that line, make me a poster and put it behind me. And I'm going to do the same thing now, because the last movie I watched was Iron Man 1. And okay, so a bad description for Iron Man 1. So we've had an inconspicuous cut when I thought of a bad description of Iron Man 1. And my description for you, Brad, is man in robot suit punches guy with beard. And I'm going to create a poster based on that descriptor alone. And folks at home, you can now decide and vote on which poster you think is best. And I know by saying this, Brad's going to make my poster really shit. So don't do that, Brad. I'm not going to pay you this month. Make them
I've
good.
already got it in my head.
Getting back to the poster for The Thing, Struzan reportedly worked through the night to complete it, and it's noted that when a courier came to pick it up to deliver it to the studio so they could make their copies, the paint was still wet.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's like how close to the wire this thing was cut. And Struzan reasoned to himself, yeah, I know the paint's wet, I know that I'm risking smudging it if I give it to some dickhead on a moped to drive 100 miles to deliver it to the studio, but it'll probably dry by the time it gets there and then they can make the copies.
It'd be funny if the original image didn't have the streaks across it.
That'd be awesome. Oh, you know what? That'd be great, but as far as I'm aware, it did dry on the way there, but I love the idea that Struzan himself was like, I don't give a fuck, I still get paid. It's like, it's not my fault the studio gave me a fucking day to do this, is it? If it turns out shit, that's their problem, not mine.
Very true.
Oh,
Do you reckon they got there and they were like, this is fucking shit, but we have to use it because we don't have another option?
And then it ends up looking sick awesome. Oh man, that film's so good. The film's so good. Poster's so cool. Thanks, Struzan. You keep doing you. Actually, no, is he still alive? Brad, check if he's still alive. When you fact check his video.
Yeah.
If he's still alive, use that previous take. If he's not, you did you, Struzan. You did good. Bye. Since this video was about The Thing, but we didn't really have much of a chance to talk about The Thing, which is one of my favourite movies, let's talk more about The Thing now, and the fact that they were going to make a sequel as like recently as like 10 years ago. And the reason I mention this is because they came up with the best explanation for why the actors in it had aged like 30 fucking years. Because the idea for a sequel was for a helicopter to pick up McCready and Childs and take them to like another place to ask them what the fuck happened, and the thing like escapes again. But obviously, like, if your film is starting 10 minutes after the first one ended and there's been a 30-year gap between then, how do you explain how Kurt Russell's aged 40 fucking years? And you know what they were going to do?
What?
They were going to say, oh yeah, Kurt Russell was so frostbitten that his face got all fucked up. And that's amazing to me. The idea of like, how are we going to explain that the actor is 40 years older? He aged 40 years in 10 minutes. Oh yeah, his face just got fucked up from the cold and it's all frostbitten and it's all scarred and weathered and that shit.
I honestly thought you were going to say stress.
That is the most, that is, to be fair, I can't imagine situations more stressful than a evil alien dickhole might brutally assimilate me and make me fart out my intestines. That's a stressful fucking work environment right there. Do you want to know as well one of the main reasons I'm sad that they didn't make that sequel?
Why?
Like, other than the fact that I love The Thing and I love to see, like, you know, John Carpenter make another one, is the fact that that explanation they wouldn't have had to do it for Keith David, because Keith David still looks alright. Keith David still looks fine. That guy's still killing it at his age, man. He looks way better than Kurt Russell, because obviously black don't crack. And I'd love to see that explanation in the film. It's like, oh yeah, R.J. McCready's face got all fucked up. And it's like, apparently Childs was fine. He must have worn 4 balaclavas or some shit, because he looks great.
They don't need to come up with some bullshit explanation, because all they need to do is call Marvel and be like, hey, you know that de-aging stuff you used on Kurt Russell?
They have de-aged Kurt Russell in a movie, haven't they? And it looked great in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. They could make this movie and they wouldn't have to come up with the bullshit explanation of, yeah, just like, you know, Kurt Russell's character just fucking took it in the face for 4 hours straight from Jack Frost. No, you can say, no, de-age that shit. Bring them all back.
You just see behind the scenes shots of Kurt Russell there covered in like dots, and then Keith David stood next to him with nothing.
It was like in what is it? Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
The de-aging Clark Gregg and Samuel L. Jackson, and behind the scenes shots of Samuel L. Jackson, he just looks fine. All they've done is just give him a fucking wig, and that's it, and he looks great. And then Clark Gregg is like 20, 30 years younger than Samuel L. Jackson's just sat there going, it's like Samuel Jackson in his fucking 70s.
Well, I think they all they need to do is like smooth out a couple of the wrinkles. But Samuel Jackson looks pretty much
He looks
the same
fantastic, and that's that'd be amazing. It's behind the scenes when you see Kurt Russell scowling with all the fucking CGI dots on his face, and Keith David's just there.
And there's also those actors who've never looked young. Like, I'm pretty sure I don't remember what Morgan Freeman looked like when he was
Patrick
young.
Stewart.
Oh, Patrick Stewart's always
An
been
actor
bald.
who, despite the fact hasn't aged in 40 fucking years, they use CGI to make look younger in one of the movies. Oh man. Can you imagine trying to use like that de-aging software and fucking like Gordon Ramsay or some shit?
Oh god.
Someone told me the other day about like someone, I think it was one of the Kardashians, took a selfie with Gordon Ramsay and airbrushed it. When they airbrushed Gordon Ramsay as well. So Gordon Ramsay's got a really smooth face.
So I've got Smooth Yoda, now I've got Smooth Ramsay.
Smooth Ramsay and Smooth Yoda. Oh, you know what? Put them both next to each other and make them grow really big. And that could be the end of the video. Smooth Yoda and Smooth Ramsay. And then put Smooth Willis in. Do you know Smooth Willis?
No.
He's a Nedroid, the comic artist. He was coming up with a stupid idea for a Pokemon. And he came up with the idea of Smooth Willis, which is like a corn on a cob with wheels. And it evolved into Smoother Willis and then Smoothest Willis. And it's great.